Mike, does the horse really need to be shod, or can it go barefoot?
Well, this is kind of a debatable subject. We hear all the time when we were with groups of men and women this size. Different disciplines require shoeing. But if Mary Jane's a backyard horse in a Monterey beach area and she rides that horse up and down the beach, maybe that horse doesn't need to be shod, but trimmed. Maybe this horse that is a lawn ornament only needs to be trimmed. So you have to look and see what the job of the horse is and take care of that type of shoeing or trimming for him. I would tell you that the main thing that everybody starts with, doesn't matter what your philosophy is, we trim the horse first. It's the very first thing we do, is maintenance on the feet. I would tell you this, that if a customer wants to stay barefoot and the horse can handle it, then maybe 6 weeks is not what the horse needs to be done, but 4 weeks is what the horse needs to be done. You want to keep that foot clean, no rough edges, no breaking up. And you need to be able to explain why your horse needs to be shod, ma'am, because she's looking at that foot and saying, oh, he's doing good. But when you get underneath of it, he's sore, and you need to explain it. You need to stop and explain that.
First impressions pay off, Steve.
We all know the need to be professionals in our industry. Typically, I try to make sure that I dress professionally. And you can see the stack of shirts that's over there. I buy a bunch of them. And every day is that a chance for a first impression. It may not be with that client that you've seen for 5 years, but they may have a friend that's going to be standing there. Interestingly enough, I didn't really believe so much in this until I hired a kid that came to work one day, and he said, he had a black T-shirt on and said, I smoke, what of it? And I thought how it actually had worse words than that, but I can't say them here. So what I'm saying is, it's that impression that you want to make to your clients. He sat in the truck all day because he didn't have anything to cover that thing over until he finally learned to turn it inside out. Make that impression that you want to make, and do it every time you go out. First impression every time.
Don't load horses in horse trailers.
Yeah, here's another interesting one that I got. When I was, after Jamie Cooper, a lot of you guys have heard her speak, we just had a conversation in the hallway. I mean, that networking is incredible. You realize that we are the horse professional, and if you're in a barn shoeing and somebody's trying to load a horse and that horse won't go in, and you decide you're going to give a hand because we're men, we're heroes, there's going to be a wreck if that horse won't go in. It's either going to have a messed up trailer, it's going to have a messed up horse, or somebody's going to get hurt. We're the professionals. The liability falls with us. When somebody's having difficulty loading their horse, just continue to work. If you go out to be the savior, to be the horseman, to help load that horse, and there's a wreck, when it all comes down to who is the professional horseman, guess who that is? And the liability stays with you. So stay away from potential problems. Just let that lady struggle if she hasn't taught her horse how to load properly.
Be a professional about other farriers' work.
This is very important. I'd like to start out by saying, if Mary Jane calls me and she says, I've got 6 horses, I'd like you to come out, and I know Steve's been her farrier for a good number of time, I may tell her, I'm going to get right back to you. I've got a couple of appointments to check out before I set an appointment with you. I'm going to call Steve and find out why she's not calling Steve back. Maybe she owns Steve money. Maybe she's got a couple bad horses and they beat him up a little bit and he's just not going back. If you can find out a little information before you make that appointment, it'll make the job a little easier. The other thing is, when you go out to that job and you look at it, don't be negative about the other farrier. You don't know what he dealt with beforehand. You don't know how long those horses went beforehand. You just don't know what they have. You don't know how long they've been waiting. Say something positive. If you're doing consultations out there to other clients, anything you look at, you need to keep that in mind, and always say something positive, and always try to have when you're doing consultations, try to get a hold of the other farrier, talk with him or she, hear what was going on with that case. Just don't make a quick decision.
Okay. Last impressions now, Steve.
We provide a service to our clients, and as part of that shoeing service, when we get done putting that last foot on the ground, you need to make sure that the next step before you load your truck, or as you're loading your truck, is that you write that next appointment up, okay? You want to make sure that you've got a return call. That is going to reduce your distractions in phone calls, and it gets your business card out there. I jot it down, even though everybody's got smartphones now, I jot it down on a business card on the back of it and make sure it gets into my customer's hands, because it's going to go from them to the next customer. It's just an easy way to network, and it really does pay off. The other thing is, nobody sees a clean wash rack, but everybody sees your trash that you left there, all right? And guarantee you, you will not get fired if you're pushing that broom. You'll get fired if you're cussing them pushing the broom, but you will not get fired if you clean up after yourself. So clean up after yourself.